I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need Kirby right back at you on Blu-ray. I'm gonna need that. I
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
know
gonna
that
get that
that was
too.
a thing.
Yeah,
I had no
they
idea.
announced that a couple weeks ago. Um, but like, that's all it takes, you know. If the fans eat it up, or even if it's like not negatively destroyed online, you get more content. And that's something that I can appreciate with Dragon Ball Super. Is even let's say I absolutely hated Dragon Ball Super. Let's say someone
Yeah.
absolutely can't stand Dragon Ball Super, right? If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have all the video games that we're getting now. We wouldn't have these popular phone games. We wouldn't have a new rejuvenated card game that's doing really well. If it died
Yeah.
with that Battle of the Gods, Dragon Ball as a story, as an intellectual property, they would just be surviving off of Z, and that's it. And we wouldn't even get anything. So, kudos to the Dragon Ball fans keeping the dream alive. That's the same thing with Sonic. Sonic
Yeah.
has been shit for a long time, and this is coming from a 25-year Sonic fan that literally appreciates everything and all content that comes out for Sonic that isn't Sonic Forces. Um, we get so much Sonic content regardless of how bad it is because the fans always want more rather than saying, yeah, this sucks, and they want to just leave it where it is. So, yeah, that's why I appreciate about Dragon Ball and its fan base. They're keeping it alive, and that's great. You guys are awesome for that.
There's nothing wrong with more Dragon Ball stuff.
Not at all.
Especially
Even if
with
it's bad, I'll take it.
what was the damn it, Super Dragon Ball Heroes? Is that what it was? It's
Yeah,
on whatever I keep playing on Switch. That game is
fun.
great. I actually really enjoy it. I don't know why I enjoy it as much as I do because I don't usually like
Games like that, me
games of
neither.
that style. Yeah, but it was definitely a lot of fun to play. So I kudos to them for
Can we
that.
point out the elephant in the room with that game? They're literally using animations and even character models from Budokai 3. Can you give us a Budokai 4, please? Um,
Really?
yeah. Play now that that's on your mind. Next time you turn that game on, you're gonna see it's the same animations and the same character models from Budokai 3, meaning they still have those animations and character models. Give us that game again, please. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 is absolutely my favorite Dragon Ball Z game, and nothing will ever, for me, will ever be able to top that game as far as a fighting game is concerned. Because Xenoverse and Tenkaichi, they're not really fighting games. They're just open arena beat 'em up games. They're fun,
Yeah.
but they're not like fighting game. Because people get it obscured when they hear the word fighting game, they throw all this shit in the category that's not a fighting game. A fighting game, in my humble opinion, a fighting game, in my opinion, I can even just throw out examples. But a fighting game, in my opinion, you are facing the one person. Usually there's actual combos in relation to not being pressed under one button or an extra button to enhance. So we're talking about a fighting game for me, by definition and by example, would be Tekken, Soul Calibur, King of Fighters, Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Z Budokai, funny enough, uh, Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive. I mean that you get the idea with just the stuff that I mentioned. But I don't look at games like Dragon Ball Xenoverse, Naruto Ultimate Ninja, um, the new Demon Slayer game, Super Smash Brothers. I don't see those as fighting games. Those are, if you want to call them a fighting game, I would throw them into a category of arena fighter. An arena fighting game would make a lot more sense to me. When you're in an arena, think of like how like gladiators and stuff work. When they get put in an arena and multiple things are trying to attack them, or they get a full scope of area to run around and roll and duck and cover and backflip and whatever else they need to do. That's an arena style fight. But when you get like a fighting game, let's look at how boxing works, right? Or how
Yeah.
wrestling works. Like that you are in a ring facing a little more far fetched for wrestling, but the single opponent, and that's, you get it.
No, I get what you mean. I agree with that. Like, because there's a lot of people out there, which again, that's why, like the other day when we were playing Smash, I actually had a lot of fun on that one. But a lot of times I stay away from it because there's a lot of people who are just like, oh yeah, I want to play this, or no items, just one on one. I'm like, this isn't a fighting game. Why are you like this? Just this game is made for all the absurdity that can happen with all those items. So I want them.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's the
funny
most fun.
because Akira Toriyama. I mean, not Akira Toriyama. Just want to go out on a note there because people go, no, it is a fighting game. The creator of Super Smash Brothers, Masahiro Sakurai, he kind of said that it's not a fighting game. So take that with what you will, because he said that himself 3 times, I might add.
Yeah, but people are still gonna get angry about that. And they're like, well, it is a fighting game. Look at all the mechanics. I'm like, yeah, you can have mechanics. Doesn't make it a fighting game.
Yeah, the creator said it's not, so pretty much have to just accept it.
Well, the annoying thing about people being like, oh yeah, like look at all these combos I'm doing, and they're not like combos. They're more like you did a hit and then you jumped and did a hit and then you hit them again when they bounced off the ground. Like I don't know if I count that as a combo. I mean, you can in Tekken.
Yeah, try that combo
like
in Tekken.
Yeah, I'm gonna say try that in Tekken. You're gonna get like bounced.
It's annoying because even Dragon Ball Fighters, it's like, yeah, that's definitely a fighting game, 100% a fighting game. But boys, that game broken as hell. So, I mean, we got that. I wouldn't say it's better than Budokai 3 in any stretch of the imagination, but it's good. It is good.
No.
It is the best Dragon Ball fighting game that isn't Budokai 3. It comes second for me, just because the game is so broken. And there's nothing they could do to fix it. Yeah, they've tried several times. They just can't. We just have to wait for a second one to come out, and they hopefully. What the problem is they went in with Marvel vs. Capcom in mind and came out with broken. So I mean that probably didn't go over well for them, but the game's still fun. I'm not gonna say it's not fun, because it's more than fun. Just don't get upset when you get sauced up by someone because they know all the loops and the things that keep you from actually being able to fight back. You're just kind of watching yourself get your ass kicked the entire time.
Also, Devin, you can't complain about Super Broly. It's just the game is all about blocking, and you better not stop blocking.
Yeah. So with this new Dragon Ball superhero movie, the moral of the story of that movie is Piccolo wants Gohan to actually get up and fight and train and basically be one of the boys again. Gohan says, I don't want to be one of the boys. You are all strong enough. And so Piccolo gets a scheme to basically instigate. Says, hey, Pan, pretend like you're in danger. And then Gohan goes, my baby girl, and freaks out and transforms. So that entire movie was only a thing because Piccolo decided he wanted to instigate.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Every time I describe that movie to somebody, I'm just like, yeah, the whole movie's just Gohan, Piccolo being like, hey, Gohan, stop being a bitch. And then Gohan being like, oh, I don't wanna. And then, he abducts his child, and there you go.
So Piccolo practiced abduction and child endangerment in order to get Gohan to actually get up and react. I mean, she wasn't in danger, but that's not the point.
Yeah, there was no threat in that movie.
No, not at all.
The androids were kind of strong for a little bit, but then as soon as Piccolo, asked for that wish on the Dragon Balls, it stopped being a threat. And then even when Cell Max shows up, it doesn't feel like a threat either, because Piccolo literally took every hit that Cell Max had, and didn't seem like he was too much worse for wear for it.
Well, it's because honestly, from what I observed, it looked like Piccolo literally easily had it under control, but Gohan wasn't progressing the way he wanted him to. So Piccolo basically purposefully took an L, even though he could have taken Cell Max out himself. Kind of like Goku. Goku's like, I'm not strong enough, even though he was totally strong enough in my opinion. He was like, I'm not strong enough. Gohan, you do this.
Yep.
It's same difference. He was like, oh no, I transformed and I'm still too weak. Gohan, you're going to have to do something. Gohan's like, Aah. And Piccolo's like, okay, so let me pretend to die or something.
Well, and then in that fight with Cell, Gohan spent the better part of 2 episodes getting his ass kicked. So, yeah, that was a bad idea. He didn't want to fight anyway. He never did want to fight.
Yeah.
And so all these characters that keep being like, "Hey, Gohan, you should be fighting again. You should fight. You're really strong. We like it when you fight." And he's just like, "I don't want to fight at all. Just let me go to school. Let me be this teacher."
he needs to fight because, like, honestly, especially in the world that they live in, it's like I don't care what you don't want to do. They're not going to be around forever, despite the fact that the Dragon Balls are a thing. They're not going to be around because you remember. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, and this is some very latent Dragon Ball knowledge that I'm pulling out, and I could be wrong. But isn't it stated in Dragon Ball itself that if someone dies from natural causes, they can't be brought back? I'm pretty sure they can only be brought back if they died from basically being killed or an accident. But if they died from natural causes, they cannot be brought back. So if Goku and Vegeta just kick the bucket, which wouldn't happen because that would be years later since they have to be old. But let's say that event happened and Goku died from the heart virus or something like that. That is still a natural cause. Gohan will be fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, he would be.
Which is, what Devin said, why he stayed dead in Trunks' time. Because... Okay, elephant in the room. Why didn't they just bring in Namekian in Trunks' time after the Cell stuff was done, and then give them Dragon Balls? There's so much they could have done with that. Anyway, man, that's such a loophole. But so with that being said, if a character dies from natural causes, they're done. That's game over. So what would make Gohan think, the world's going to be protected? Who cares if they have Trunks and Goten? Then it would just come down to him, Trunks, and Goten.
Well, and the other thing about like the whole bringing Namekian into Trunks' timeline, well, now it doesn't exist, so it doesn't matter. But before that, it could all be chalked up to, and this is the same thing we keep getting, which is why Dragon Ball Superhero is named the way it is. Kira Toriyama forgot. that could be like the biggest sum up of it. Because he just keeps forgetting stuff. Launch doesn't exist because he forgot that she exists. Doesn't realize that Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 are different. Doesn't want to draw Super Saiyan 3, so doesn't. Like, it's just the way that he operates.
Which is super bizarre. No pun intended. It's hard. It's so weird that he forgets about Launch.
Yeah.
Because, she was a very prominent character for him for, 20 years.
And dating Tien and everything.
Yeah, like, that's weird that she's completely forgotten out of all characters. He brought, like, Emperor Pilaf back, and, yeah, that's bizarre. Putting Launch back in there would be super interesting, but, yeah, you make a good point with that, because I forgot about Launch myself.
Yeah.
That's what's funny about the new Dragon Ball Kakarot game, because Launch is actually in the game. You get missions and stuff from her. She's actually an enjoyable character on there.
I just like seeing her on the shop in was it Budokai 3? Where she
Yeah.
like, sneezed trying to buy the characters and moves and stuff.
Yeah, and she get all angry at you for being there. And then in Dragon Ball Kakarot, in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, you... Like I said, you get missions from her, and there's like an escort thing with her too, and they make her character matter for a little bit on there, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, they need to do something with Launch again. It's actually kind of sad.
Well, they've been needing to do stuff with all the side characters again. Like, it was cool for the Tournament of Power for them to bring back, like Tien, even though he sucked, and then do something with Krillin and 18. Like, that was cool to see. And they brought back my boy 17.
Yeah.
Like, I was excited for all of that. And then Boo, the biggest dropped ball in Super. I really wanted to see what Boo was going to be able to do.
Yeah. Boo, the idea of Boo just gets me flustered. So, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, they take Majin Buu. Every situation with Majin Buu. Like, why would they do that? Like, what? So every time with Majin Buu. Yeah, so every time with Majin Buu, literally every single time with Majin Buu, they always end up saying he's asleep or some excuse as to why they're not using Majin Buu for whatever is going on. And because is he relevant? Is he strong still?
He's definitely strong. Remember, we saw him fight before the Tournament of Power, the exhibition.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on that team.
And they just keep saying he's asleep, or what's the point? Like, they sideline him, and he's one of their strongest people. And they were like, oh, well, if we put Boo in this, then you're just going to wipe the floor. It's like, yeah, well, that's okay. like, honestly, if you think about it, Boo's really not that strong. He's just the third strongest.
Yeah.
Because you remember, he got the crap kicked out of him by Grey Boo, who was weak.
Yeah.
But not weaker than him.
Somehow. But by the time, but like again with that the exhibition that he was a part of on that team when he was fighting, I think there was the three dogs they were fighting.
Yeah.
So like Goku fought one, Gohan fought one, was blind for a second. I think Majin Buu fought one, and then then after that it was Toppo and Goku fought each other. But it was a logical thing to have him there just mopping the floor. He couldn't take any damage. Like the dude was fighting him and he took no damage whatsoever. And so he was just able to beat them because of that. So him in the Tournament of Power would have been absolutely busted. I mean, he probably would have had a problem with Jiren, but since he's a big bubblegum monster, he was okay.
He just eats Jiren and they call it a day.
I want that. I legitimately wanted that.
Yeah, it's just, just Boo. They made Boo an issue. So you told me that Oob is in the manga right now.
Yeah, they brought him in during the Moro arc because they were like, "Hey, this dude's a problem. Well, I sense the energy of this person. Let me go get this person." And Goku brings back Oob as a child.
And does he train him or?
He puts him in the fight. It doesn't really amount to anything, like at all, actually. I didn't read all the way through it either. Like I got up to Oob and I was like, huh, Oob. And then I just kind of left it at that.
Yeah, man, I hate that I'm broke. We have this sale going on at work, and I can grab all the manga, but I have no money. I never have money when these sales happen. It sucks.
Yeah.
Always. Just, when I worked at Best Buy, they were like, oh, you get paid the day of the sale, and you get an extra percentage off. We want all of your paycheck back.
Yep.
But yeah, V-Stock doesn't do that. It's kind of disheartening. Like, let the sales happen, like, the week we get paid, not the week before we get paid. Come on. Like, that's a hint, V-Stock. But, yeah, just Boo. Well, all Boo things aside, so with Dragon Ball Breakers, I told you earlier that they delayed the game. So from what I hear is, so the game already went gold and it's basically finished with production. And I think they delayed it either by a month or a few days. I can't remember. But apparently the game went gold and they're taking time to... There was supposed to be DLC for the game. Planned DLC a little bit after the launch. They're actually just adding it to the game now. So you don't have to buy anything at this point. At least not yet. So I think that's actually pretty cool for them to delay it for that reason. As far as some people say, oh, they're probably delaying it to polish it because the game doesn't look good. All of the gameplay videos that are out there... Not right now, because PAX West is right now, and I'm very sure it's at PAX West. But all the gameplay videos that are out there and the betas and all that, everybody's playing and seeing builds from like a year or two ago.
And it looks fine.
Yeah, and it looks fine from that. So just imagine what it looks like now. Even if it looked janky before, it's an older build, so... I mean, take that with you will. But, yeah, I don't know. That game looks great, or at least passable. It's only $20, so it's can't really go wrong with a fun looking $20 game that you can play with your friends. And if it sucks, oh, you only lost $20. Unless you go and get it physical, then I guess you're losing like 40. But I'm not doing that. So
I mean, my problem is that people put too much stock in how things look anyway. Like,
yeah, they do.
Not always how it looks. It's the gameplay that's important.
Yeah.
So, whenever you're like, oh man, this game looks beautiful. Look how good it looks. Like, yeah, but is it good? No, it's not fun. Then who cares what it looks like? Who cares how many teraflops this console has and can make it look like such and such? It'll never look better than a nature documentary on a 4K TV.
Yeah. Well, you already heard my complaint. Oh, this game looks beautiful. This game is such a good game, which it is, but it's also 4 hours long. It's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 hours isn't even long enough to be spending $70 on Ratchet and Clank. So, or excuse me, some people say, oh, it's 6 hours. Whatever. Same difference. $70 is pretty steep for a game that short. I paid $40 for The Witcher. And even when it came out, I paid $60 for The Witcher. So it's like, there are much longer games, whether they look good or not, that give you more bang for your buck than Ratchet and Clank for the price that Sony wants for it. Just throwing that out there. That had nothing to do with Dragon Ball, but at the same time, it kind of goes full circle because Dragon Ball Breakers doesn't look visually appealing, but aesthetically and the gameplay and stuff, it looks pretty good, or at least fun. I wouldn't say good. Good and fun are two different things. So there are plenty of games that are good and aren't fun, and games that are fun and not good. You get my point.